Right, and we're coming in
Okay,
here
so
to
the
see
Drake and Roke team, they didn't bring a Drake or a Roke. They've brought a Ferox and a Hyperion, and that is coupled with the Osprey, Algos, and the ever-present Tackle Merlin. Classic. Do you want to introduce Classic?
Go for it. No, sorry. Classic have brought in a Punisher, Talwar, Caracal, and Harbinger. It looks like we've got a decent amount of projection on that comp, and a fair amount of missile spam's going to be coming out of it, and that's a Punisher as well. It's going to be the other classic tanky frigate tackle frigate we have for this format.
Yeah, so Classic have brought their entire team in at 30, whereas Book, they've brought most of the guys in at 50, except they've got the Merlin in just about 20, and the Ferox, he is sitting at 0 along with that Hyperion. Now that Hyperion, that is a strong ship. If that gets a tackle on the Harbinger, the Typhoon, the Caracal, really anything, it's just going to eat face until the other ship dies, and it's got a strong local tank itself as well. Immediately damage onto that Ferox. Now with the Osprey, that Ferox he's got his own boosters as well, so he's pretty tanky. So that is a pretty strong choice of first primary, especially with the Osprey still up.
But he's bleeding through a lot of shield at the moment. We're going to see probably going to see boosters coming in soon, whereas the damage is coming back towards that Punisher, which has been diving in to try and get tackle at the moment.
Yeah, now he has been screened by that Ferox, who's managed to snag him on the way by. So hopefully he will be able to keep him away from the Osprey, and that's probably a good decision, because that Ferox is going to be able to tank for a long time with the Osprey rep still there. However, if that Osprey does get tackled, it's going to be a lot harder for Book to just stay alive. And the Punisher is down, so now with no tackle on the field for Classic EUTZ feed, it's going to be a lot harder for them to apply that damage.
Yes, they have got almost no tackle left. They may have a couple of modules on that Harbinger, but they have nothing to pin targets down, so range control is pretty much being given over to Book at this point. And they don't.
Yeah, that Hyperion, he is just slowly burning up after the Book Club Typhoon. Now, he's got to get on top of them, because at the moment he's blaster fit, so he's doing very little in the way of damage. So right now you're seeing basically a 4-on-4. Hyperion's almost taken himself out of the game just simply because of the lack of range control on Classic EUTZ feed. Oh, sorry, Book Club. Really, that Merlin needs to be diving in and getting tackle on something to allow that Hyperion to just cruise in on top and start applying some of that horrifically high damage that it can apply at close range.
Same
the
time
Ferox, he's going into low armor now. The rep's starting to break, especially he's probably run out of charges in his XL ASB, so he is just probably onto cap charges now, which is not the good place to be if you're a shield tanking battle cruiser. You definitely do not want to be there. And as we say, he's going in to hull. He's not going to last very much longer, and that is going to be a huge chunk of damage and control from Book Club.
We saw a lot of shield maintenance bots coming out to try and save that Ferox, and they're giving it some more time at the moment. And not enough, however, as it's already down.
Yeah, Cricket did a great job there, keeping that Ferox alive as long as he possibly could. The amount of damage the Typhoon and the Harbinger can spit out, it is a lot to tank, especially with one little Osprey. Now, that Harbinger, he is very far out towards the edge of the boundary, so he's got to start being careful. He's only got 10 kilometers to play with.
Same time, we're beginning to see damage going back down, seeing it going onto the Talwar on the Classic team, sorry. But that Merlin appears to be absorbing a lot of abuse, still under reps from the Osprey, or at least it was. Bleeding low now, getting towards armor, while the Hyperion is also coming under abuse with split aggro there.
Yeah, it looks like the Classic EUTZ guys have started to prime that Hyperion. Even though he is a armor tanking battleship, the Osprey will be able to give him a hand just to keep him alive, but that he is strong with those local armor reps as well. So that's perhaps an odd choice. Now, it might just be that they cannot get tackle on anything else, and with the AB that Osprey has, it's able to essentially sig tank the Harbinger and the Typhoon to a certain extent. So, but he's been basically unmolested this whole match. He hasn't had any pressure put on him. He's not had to worry. He's just been able to cruise around, rep his friends, and just chill out.
Indeed, at the same time we're now seeing damage going
everywhere
to the Algos as well, and the Merlin was dropping low there, but the Algos is probably going to be going down here. He's armor tanked as well. He's not going to be getting the benefit of those Osprey reps like the others, and he is gone. The Hyperion, of course, is going to be a decent primary one with them lacking tackle, because he's not going to be moving fast enough to be able to mitigate any of the damage that's coming in on him, even if he can rep through the vast majority of it.
Yeah, now what the Osprey has done is he's actually positioned himself pretty close to that Hyperion. So if the EUTZ feed guys want to try and get in and tackle that Osprey to take him out, then they're going to have to get very close to that hype, which is probably not a good idea for them, especially because that Typhoon, he is long range, he wants to just cruise around by himself. Now the Osprey, he's being attacked by drones now, so they're trying to see if they can just put some pressure on his cap, which is something they should have done perhaps a long time ago. He does have a pretty decent local tank, and you can see he's just chilling out and boosting. Now eventually he's going to run out of charges, and that will be when it starts to get quite interesting for him.
And we've already seen perhaps the weakness of this Osprey with, though it had a huge amount of local rep, it's not got the buffer behind it, and it was already dipping into armor under the first barrages there. But it looks like they're putting pressure on it now, and it's only a matter of time until the shield booster runs dry. It's beginning to bleed the damage, and that's probably... Ooh.
Yeah, the Osprey, he is probably run out of his charges now. You can see he is... Oh, no, he must have managed to reload there, because that was a large boost now. The Hyperion does have Tech 2 large heavy shield bots, so he is helping that Osprey stay alive, but he is about to die now. He can't stay up under that DPS that's coming in now from the Typhoon, the Harbinger, and that Caracal with this rapid light missiles.
And there he goes down. You've got to think that that's probably going to be it for the Merlin as well, with rapid lights on that Caracal and no reps coming out to it anymore. Yep, we're seeing that prime read, and it's probably going to be dropping quite quickly.
Yeah, and based on the speed that this Hyperion's moving, I'm guessing it's probably burnt out his micro warp drive. Now he's just been essentially neutralized this entire fight. He's been not able to apply any damage, and this is what you see sometimes when you bring a brawling comp and your other team brings a kiting comp. You really need that range control and that tackle to just get in there and allow you to get your big, heavy, brawling battleships on top of the other team. If you don't manage that, then you're just going to spend your whole day trailing around. And that's it, he is down. So that's the end of that match. And
the hero micro jump drive.
To... He did, sorry, I've just been told he micro jump dived out of the arena. He realised that the game is over, he may as well go out in style. He went and had a little dance with the edge of